Good morning and welcome back to Plannercraft. I'm Natalie and today we're going to be continuing with our Distress Stain Spray projects and a little catch up on yesterday. So yesterday we did a spooky card and I've hand drawn some bats on there and I'm just waiting for that to dry, and then I'm going to go back over the top with a gel pen to make those sparkly.
Thea, Carol and Deb.
Hi Thea, Carol, Deb, Nikki. And I know Mom's going to be late today. So, I've got a craft card here which is 5x7. And I'm going to fold that ready to go. While we're waiting for a few of us to join us. So I'm just seeing which is the leading edge. And then I'm going to burnish this on the back. That's because when we're burnishing we can sometimes leave a shiny mark behind. And you want to make sure that's on the back of your card and not on the front. Okay, so I've pulled out some card. So we have our background that I did with the, let me get this right, flickering candle. There's a little bit of jack-o'-lantern and, let's get the right one, a little bit of bubbling cauldron. So those together make this. The die is a Sizzix die, which is the leafy twigs and high Tracy. So I came to put this on my card and I thought, well, it needs something to just lift it up. My original thought was to use white and lift it up that way. So if I put the white there just so you can see what that looked like. But then I thought, hang on, why don't we try something a little bit different and actually use our translucent paper from yesterday as our gap between. But then I thought it almost has like a bluey tinge to it. So I'm going to grab a messy mat and I'm going to go for scattered straw because we want something that's going to be warmer but not too strong, and a blending brush. And very roughly I'm going to go down the side here. So that we're starting to introduce a bit of colour into our paper. The oxides are a bit more opaque, which is why I'm going for an oxide rather than an ink. So hopefully this will sit above our craft and we'll see more of that true colour. Do the bottom edge. Okay, so now I'm going to bring my card back in. Just see roughly where I need to start going back up this side, which I'm not too far off, so about there. So if I make a mark first, then I can follow that line with the ink. Now you do want to go careful where you're touching your pencil line, as you can smudge it into your ink, which we don't want to do. Okay, going to measure back up again. How am I going to get across there? Check it again, and that should be plenty. So now I'm going to attach my card to our translucent paper. And I'm just going to use some double-sided. So this is a good way of using up your offcuts. Let's put my scissors. It's starting to thunder out there. And it looks far too sunny for thunder. Okay, so when we're gluing translucent paper, because we're gluing it on the back, it means that we don't have to worry about which adhesive that we're using. You want 6th level. Ideally. So. And then we can trim. So it is easier to trim the translucent paper once you've done that step of doing it to the card. Let me just get those little pieces out. There we go. So I'm going to use the edge of the guide here to give me my border. And you can trim down the sides if you didn't quite get it level. Just to even up the border. And I'm going to do that. Okay. So there's our piece. Let's move that out of the way for a moment. Bring our card back in. Make sure we're opening it the right way, and that will be going on there. But now we want to do a circle here, so where we've got this border here, I thought it'd be really nice if we kind of mimic that by putting a sentiment circle up here, which I'm going to cut out with the white card, and then I'm also going to do a plain circle out of our orange. The idea being that when we stick the two together, you're going to see our text through our circle to the orange beneath. And this is how we do it. So first of all, let's turn on the machine. We'll go OK, because our blade isn't in our holder. I'm going to be cutting that. Thank you. Okay, so onto my cutting mat I'm going to put my white card 1 inch in, and as there's plenty of room on your mat, also put the orange, and again I'm going to line that up with one of the inch grid lines like so that you end up with them both on the mat. So hopefully you can just about see that. So I'm going to load that into my machine. When it behaves. Come on. I know it's been good all week, and then it starts to be naughty now. Okay. So. Yeah. I'm going to go to pattern. And first thing I'm going to do is put that circle in.
Yeah, we've had to put the fact on this morning. It's just too hot in here.
Yeah, we are melting.
Not have it going. So apologies for that. There is a bit of a.
Yeah. It's just too hot, otherwise we just couldn't stream, could we? So.
No.
Okay, so with our circle, if we were to put it on at 100mm, which is what it defaults to, then it's going to be much too big. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my card base, line up my background, grab a ruler, and I'm going to measure from where my border is here across the side of the card. So that gives you your absolute maximum size of your circle, but to be honest, you're probably going to want to come in to about 7.5, which means that it's going to be 0.5 centimetre here and 0.5 centimetre here. So 75mm.
Apparently, if we've got a stopping in the microphone, it's supposed to stop at the moment.
It's got a protector already on it, believe it or not.
Let's move it a bit more towards you that way. So it's
Yeah, let's see if I can angle it a bit better. There we go. So hopefully that's a bit better. It's a bit further away from where the fan is. And I'm going to go down to 75. Okay. Now we're going to need 2 of those, because we're going to have one that is out of the white and one that is out of the orange. So we increase our number to 2, and we're going to add those to the map.
Chris says you can hear heaps better now.
Okay. So at this point I'm going to do my background scan so that I have my reference for which bit's going on which side. Okay, I'm going to drag this circle over here and this circle here. Now, because our circle underneath would show if we left it at that full 75, I'm going to take that one down just a touch in size. Now when we resize, it's always going to go from that centre point, so we will probably want to rejig its positioning.
Carol says she's going to do more windows today. She'll do a test cut again to see if they cut out this time.
Cool. So I'm going to take it down to about 7mm. So this gives us enough of a reduction that it should tuck back underneath our white circle, but you don't want to take it too small, otherwise there's a risk of you seeing a line in your text. I'm going to go OK. Now in terms of positioning onto our orange card, this is where you can start to be a little bit clever. I'm going to put it towards the middle, and then we can always use the rest of that orange for another card. So hopefully by the end of the week we kind of have a little bundle of cards that we can send. Going back to the one on our white card, again this time we can position it in the middle so that we've got a frame that we can use for another card. I'm going to go OK, and I might just use my keys to just nudge it over. So if you're not sure that something's quite in the middle, you can just give it a little nudge with the keys to check. And we go OK.
Thea says she can hear you much better now.
Cool.
I had headphones on, it was very loud.
I
have turned the fan down a little bit as well, haven't I?
Yeah. So I'm going to go to add, I'm going to go to pattern. I'm going to go to my text, and you're going to want to use something that is reasonably bold, but this is one of those techniques that work really well with your stencil text. If you want to use like an O, a B, a P, a Q, something that's got the centre. Or you can stick to using the bolder font for words that don't necessarily need to have that bridging gap. Okay, so what shall I go for? Because I keep thinking joy, because joy is a nice simple one to do.
Halloween.
No, I wasn't going to do Halloween on that card, or do you think I should? Should I go blue?
No, you can go joy. Joy is fine.
So I'll go for the stencil one.
And your mum says hello.
Hi Mum! So there's our joy. We're going to go OK. Now, with our letters, if you don't like that spacing, you can't go into negative spacing, unfortunately, on the machine. So what you would end up doing is doing your J, O and Y separately and then budging it together. It's not too bad on this one in particular, but different fonts will have different issues with spacing, so it's a good sort of thing to learn, is that you don't necessarily have to stick to just putting it in as one word. You can put it in as letters and play with your layout a little more. So I'm going to add that to my mat, and then I can move it over my circle, and then we can resize. So I'm going to go to Object Edit. I'm going to resize it down. And then we can move it over. Let's have a look at that. That's not too bad. So I'm going to go OK, OK, multi-select, select the circle, go OK, move, align, centre and centre. So then we know that that cutout text is right in the middle. We can go OK, OK again, back into Object Edit. Now if at this point you're happy with both elements, what I would say is you can actually use that group to lock it in place, which is this one just here. But I'm actually going to click off that, and I'm just going to take it down just a little more. So it's resizing for that centre point, so we don't need to realign. But it's just if you want to redo that group that you would go back to multi-select and then group. So I'm going to go OK. And from this point, what I would do here now is cut that out. The reason being that when we come to do our next bit, we're going to be doing drawing, and we don't want it to draw all those elements and then cut them out, otherwise you can get a bit of a weird border going on. Okay, so as our design is a little bit more detailed than what we might normally do, I'm going to go to my vinyl blade and pop that in. I'm going to go OK, OK, and OK again. Go to cut. Now because I've changed blade, I'm going to go and increase my pressure slightly, so I'm going to go to -6 and OK, and off we go. So all the shapes that we import on our ScanNCut will cut and draw. There's no way of turning it to do one or the other at the moment. So do you want to announce winner?
I'll let you.
no. I say the person that has been the selected lucky one. Yes, because it's not a competition, it is a challenge, and we pick somebody each month to get a goodie.
So the winner, if you like, the final challenge goes to Joyce Connolly. Not watching today at the moment, I haven't seen anyway. So I'll drop her a message later, but congratulations, Joyce.
And if you see this before we get to messaging, you drop us a message. As we're in and out, aren't we, today?
Yes.
Hopefully, anyway. Yeah, well, hopefully the print's done with the testing. Okay, so let's check that's cut, and there we go. So we have our circle. Now I'm going to leave this in place, but when we come to peel these off, this will come out, and I'll peel that one off too, so you can see a bit easier what's going to go on. Okay. So let's take out our blade and bring in our pen holder. So I'm going to go back, but I'm going to take out just the joy for now. Actually no, let's leave it there. I can always take it out after. So add pattern, and let's go I want to go and do some drawing, but I think let's go for our single line, just because we want to go down to doing tiny text, and single line always works best when you're going tiny. So this can be a bit of a pain because each one of them is a separate shape. So my advice to you would be to add them to your mat, then group and size so that you keep them all at the same scale. Don't try and do the size for each one, otherwise you will send yourself slightly loopy. So I'm thinking something along the lines of wishing you. So I'm going to put a W. I only need one of them, so I'm going to set that one to the mat. Going to add another one. Now we're going to need two.
Always need two lines.
Wishing. Dear, these jokes get worse. Now we can do our S. H. Oh dear. And N. We're nearly there. G. And now we can start on the U, so add and as tempted as I am to just put a U, I will behave. Now I'll put a Y.
You'd have to so she has to encourage me to keep me on my toes.
So wishing you. So what we want to do now is we want to go to edit, multi-select. We're going to use our window, drag our arrow so that we just got our wishing you surrounded. Go OK, and you can see that it's all higgledy-piggledy. So we'll go OK, and I'm going to go to move, align and top. We're just going to put it all in a nice straight line. Now at this moment you would be highly tempted to try and do your distribute spacing, but if you did, because of that space in the middle, all you're going to end up doing is getting big gaps between your letters and no space between wishing and you. So we have to be a little bit more clever. What we end up doing is going OK, OK, multi-select, and I'm going to deselect my U. Okay, I'm going to go into move, align, and then we can do our spacing. But even then you can see it goes a bit mad sometimes. Just sometimes. Because it's trying to do it from centres rather than doing it from optical edges. So if we go OK, I'm just going to go back and just sort out my eyes.
I've got a bit wonky already.
Yeah, my eyes have gone a bit wonky. So I'm just going to sort out the S.
Some of Louise's wobbly eyes.
Going to move that N. And I'm just going to adjust these by hand, just so that they match roughly. So now that we know they're all level and they're all spaced, we can go back to multi-select, select our word, OK.
Carl says you can get drops of wonky eyes.
So now I'm going to group the letters. Oh dear, I don't think drops would fix my eye somewhere. And now we can go to resize. Now if we adjust the height rather than the width, you're going to find that you go down that width much quicker. Top tip if you need to do a really big adjustment. And I'm going to move it up here so that we can see our scale. So again, a little bit more, so you can see they are going to be tiny. I'm going to go OK, OK, go back to move, and I'm just going to nudge that up with the keys so that I have the wishing you joy. Then you need to decide if you want to put anything underneath that joy, and I think I was going to go for a little heart. What do you think? Or shall I just leave it like that? He says leave it like that. Okay. So, I'm going to grab a gel pen. It's probably not a bad match. So this one is a Doodler's glitter pen. And I'm just going to pop that in there. Press it down into the holder. Tighten it up. Done. Give it a gentle tug so you know it's going to stay put. Pop it in the holder. Come on, behave. There we go. then we can delete all the other stuff other than our text. Now at the moment you'll see that our text is still blue anyway because it's one of the single line designs that's on the DX. If you're working on a CM, you will need to use a single line font on canvas to do a similar technique.
Like Child's Play.
Like Child's Play or Scripty. That's bad, I can't remember the name of my own font then.
Which are available now buying me a coffee.
Yeah. So I'm just going to delete those out. Now, if you wanted to fill your background with a pattern instead of using something that is coloured, that's your opportunity to do so. But I'm just going to delete that one too. Okay. Then we can go OK, OK. We're going to go to draw. Now because our text is quite small anyway and it's all on one line, there's no point using the foil setting to prevent smudging because it's pretty much this kind of area it's going to do anyway. So pressure is on -4, speed on 2, probably about right, so I'll leave it at that and off it goes. So when it comes up with this one, what it means is I'm using the 3D thumbprints holder rather than the official Brother one, so just go OK and press start again and it will continue regardless. So any questions on single line fonts? Feel free to ask. And there we go. So don't be afraid to use a colour pen in your ScanNCut. Just because. Yeah, I'll unload the map so that we can take that off and have a bit more space. There we go. So we have our big circle with our text out of it, our smaller circle that's going to layer underneath, and we have our text. So let's pop it off the map. So then the idea is that that's going to go underneath there, and the more intricate that your font is for this bit, the more you can get away with it. So whereas usually we would cut out the positive and then stick that on something else, which means that we can't be using fine things because it won't work to get it off the map. You have the opposite is true when you reverse it out. Thank you.
You finished with it?
Yeah. So let's put our card together. Just going to give that bit of trim there. Okay. Okay, there we go. So when you're gluing, you want to make sure your glue stays within the area of your card piece and not on the edges of your translucent paper, otherwise it will show through. And again, like we did yesterday, if you want to put a heavy weight on top of that while it's setting, then do so. Got a little air bubble on my glue, so I'll just pop that for a second. So while that's just setting over there, let's get our next two pieces. So I want to 3D mount this up above so that we get our shadow popping through our text. So let's get some 3D squares, she says. They're hiding at the back. There we go. Yep. I'll try not to knock the mic. Apologies if I do. So when you're doing these, you don't want to have them too close to your openings. So some towards the middle and then round the outside.
Karen wants to know when we're doing the Shadowbox workshop.
Shadowbox workshop is the 2nd of October and starting at 10 AM. And for those of you that haven't done our workshops before, you can book on Buy Me a Coffee. We send you a link. It used to be that we would do it to a Facebook group, but I think with this one I'm going to try and do it through YouTube instead.
Oh,
Yeah.
Why?
Why? Because there's only so many Facebook groups I can do. What you think? Do it on Facebook. There you go. It's twisting my arm to do it on Facebook. Yeah. But the confirmation will say that it'll be on YouTube. So whichever you prefer. And I can send you a private link to a YouTube then, can't I? Okay. So now we want to peel all these little bits off. This is the fun bit. Getting all these little squares.
2 days before Tower 50.
12 days before my dad. Or Cliff's, depending on how you look at it. Okay. Yeah, I'm just deciding which way round I want me little mica patch, because there's a mica patch here. Would make a good little earth, that, wouldn't it? Look, because it's just. But I think I'm going to go that way round. Line it up roughly. Yeah, that's not bad. And I can just press that down. Like so. So with this back layer, we don't need to 3D that up too. We can go back to our PVA. Gives a bit of wiggle room to make sure that we get our text level. Might just pop a little extra glue under that top corner where it's lifting a little bit. And now I can use that border as a guide for where I'm going to place a little circle. Like so. And then if you have any other embellishments you want to tuck in, like some little autumn leaves, you can do. And I might do those. Shall I do some of these tomorrow? Because we haven't done work with the shapes on the machine in a while, have we, in terms of actually making them into little embellishments. So I think I will do that tomorrow and we can add those round. Because it needs something just there, for that little white patch. So hopefully you like it. Just needs something just there, lifted up, just there. So, any questions before we go today?
Deb says, this
And I just remember what else I was going to show today, and that was a little bit of vinyl. Should I do that quick?
A little bit of vinyl?
Yeah. Because Sandra's struggling with vinyl. But, I think I might do that tomorrow, maybe.
Yeah, okay.
Because I think that would go well with doing the embellishments, so that we're not always cutting out a card and actually showing how we can layer them up and use vinyl to pick up details.
Vinyl tomorrow.
We can go really fine with vinyl, can't we? So I'll do that. Huh?
The vinyl protect.
Yep. So we'll do that tomorrow.
And Nikki says thank you for it.
That's okay, you're welcome. So if you want to do the Shadowbox workshop, it's available on Buy Me a Coffee. It's £50 for all day, and there's going to be lots of drawing involved, but it's all going to be drawing with basic shapes, so there's nothing that you should be struggling with. Then I am also putting up the Christmas house workshop later this week, so we're just doing a few dummy runs just to make sure that it's going to work for everyone, and then we'll put that up. Now at the moment it will be for ScanNCut as one workshop. If you want it as a silhouette workshop, we can do that separately. Okay, just let me know. And Cricut at the moment we can work on that because that's not quite coming as we would like it. Okay, so take care for now, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Practicing Windows just for it.
Yep, you need your windows. But you'll be pleased to know, Carol, I'm not going to expect you to draw the file for the Christmas house. I won't be that so cruel. Okay, so I'll say bye, and back tomorrow at 11 AM.